toutes et à tous. Welcome to the Global Marathon. A big thank you to Discovery for making this event possible, and to everyone taking part around the world, thank you for coming together to celebrate women in engineering and technology. En tant qu'ingénieurs, innovatrices et entrepreneurs, les femmes changent les règles du jeu en sciences et dans tous les domaines. We need your leadership to tackle the biggest challenges we face as a world, from fighting climate change to building stronger communities. It is unacceptable that in 2018, women are still so persistently underrepresented in science, technology, engineering, and math. It's time for all of us to break down the barriers women face and make sure they have the tools and support they need to succeed. So to all the women innovators out there, thank you for inspiring us all and showing us that the future is now. Have a great marathon. Thank you so much. Merci.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well this afternoon. If you guys can please hear me. Can you please pop in the comments below? Let me know. I just want to make sure you guys in the studio chat can hear me. Let me know really quick. I'll wait on that confirmation. Perfect. Well, good afternoon, everyone, or morning or night, depending on where you're at. We are so excited to host you guys this afternoon, or again, wherever in the world today on March 7th. So thanks so much for joining. My name is Brianne C. Martin, aka the People Engineer. I am very excited for today's moderation of the panel for advancing your career in personal brand through social media. If you guys have any questions, just a little bit of background is there is a chat. It's the studio chat. In the section in your area. Obviously, you guys are using it, so perfect. Thank you so much. If there are any questions, please feel free to post them there. There's also a questions and answer section, so if there's any technical issues or you drop off or you need a phone call number, anything in particular, feel free to utilize that as well. That live studio chat can be utilized to talk to myself, the moderator, as well as the panelists themselves, and we have some really great panelists, so I will not hold them up any much longer. If we could go ahead and get started with the introductions, please.
Hello, my name is Abela Batayonga. I am a social entrepreneur, a youth mentor, and a media personality in my country, Tanzania, East Africa. I own a youth-led NGO, also an innovative girls-led social enterprise, and a media production company. How can we use social media to advance our careers? Having worked in media myself and mentored a couple of media personalities in my country and created different projects in my country, I look at social media as a tool. But also for me, social media is a platform and it's a medium of exchange. Social media, it's definitely to be used to inspire, inform, and educate. I believe there's so many opportunities you can find in social media. Opportunities like connecting your business to the world and also getting to understand what other businesses are there to bring back to you. But also personal development and community development, and also social media networks you with the world, networks you with the community, but also networks you with individuals you'd want to reach out to. Social media has a lot of advantages. It makes you credible. Social media brands you. It takes your identity and creating a brand or logo. Hey, it's affordable and it's reachable. I would, however, like to raise a caution. Social media comes with risk. It could actually infringe your privacy. If you keep sharing everything, where you are, what you're doing, people can easily track you. So be careful what you share. But also, social media can compromise your idea, especially your business idea. So before you share your business, make sure you've considered intellectual property and you've registered and you have confirmed legally that this is your own idea. Social media can also discredit you very fast. If you share the wrong information or too private information, or if you share if you share information that is not true, social media can discredit you and your business. So be careful what you share, when you share, how you share it, and also protect your idea.
Science is really myth busting, isn't it? Instead of a myth, it's a hypothesis.
She is a next generation scientist.
Dr. Tracy Fanara.
Dr. Tracy Fanara.
Now she's using the platform to inspire young women in science.
You are the future of science.
There's so many possibilities when you actually go out of your comfort zone. The Earth tells us a story, and sinkholes add a lot of detail to that story. There's no stereotype to science. With the sonicator, and it's going to get super loud. We're living on top of a coral reef. Flood, a harmful algae bloom, a drought. You'd think that nutrients would be a good thing, but everything in moderation. Sometimes too much of a good thing is a bad thing. Anybody can be a scientist or an engineer with some hard work and passion. My name is Dr. Tracy Fanara. I'm looking forward to going to save the world now.
Hey guys, can you hear me? Okay, hold on. Okay, is that better? Okay, awesome. Hey guys, my name is Dr. Tracy Fanara. I am the Program Manager of Environmental Health at Mote Marine Laboratory. And the reason why social media and advancing your career, social media is so important to me because my job in science is to communicate, to connect with the general public. And the reason why that's so important is because changes are made on an individual basis as far as environmental conservation. So every single thing that everybody does impacts the rest of us. Everything in this world is connected. So connecting to the public is something that's really important to me, and it's really important for our environment. So back in grad school, I was noticing my friends throwing out trash out their car window quite often, actually, and I just asked them where they thought the little drain went, and they didn't know. So I did a more formal study and started asking people where they thought that their trash went, and they either didn't know or they thought it went to a wastewater treatment plant when every drop of rain that falls on the surface of Florida goes right to a natural water body. And that's when I started to notice that there's a big information gap. And even furthermore, I noticed that when I started to tell my friends that every drop of water goes straight to a natural water body, they started holding on to their trash. I started to see behaviors change. And so I really wanted to take, the next step. And I wanted to try to convince my parents to change. They were buying bottled water like crazy. And I just, it bothered me so much because I knew all the implications, and I would tell them about it. How much water it took to make a bottle of water, how much oil it took to make a bottle of water, that the water comes from the same place. And in scientific studies, it's not even better than tap water on a general basis. And all the transportation costs, nothing was working. They just didn't like the way their tap tasted. And I was about to give up. And that's when I bought them a Brita filter. They never bought another bottle of water again. And so from that point on, I realized that there are 4 things: making a message simple, connect your message with family impacts and economics. How does it hit their wallet? Give them an achievable solution, something that's easy, something that they can grasp, and it doesn't make a big change to their life, and get them involved. When people take ownership of something, they feel involved. So now moving to social media, it's just an easier way to connect with people. And for me, honestly, I don't know how long I'm supposed to talk here, but the reason why I took the job with Mythbusters and the reason why I'm even doing this right now and not in my lab getting my actual work done and not working 80 hours a week is because
years ago, my little cousin, she was about 11, she came over and she was obsessing over social media. She was obsessing over Instagram, for example. And she was, all about this family who was on the E channel. And, oh, sorry, this is just supposed to be a hello. I'm sorry. We can move on, but I'll save that story for later.
What gifts did education give to you? Or what doors did education open for you?
I think that education in itself is a gift because when you think about it, we're so fortunate to have the education that we have. There are kids around the world, and especially girls, who don't have access and opportunities for things like basic literacy or basic abilities in mathematics or history. And having those opportunities not only opens a lot of doors in life, it also allows you to dream really big and to believe in yourself. If I had never had the education that I have, I wouldn't have the goals that I currently have.
Great.
Hi everyone. So my name is Abby Harrison, otherwise known as Astronaut Abby, and I run a nonprofit that I started 2 years ago called the Mars Generation, which focuses on exciting and inspiring people around the world of all ages, but especially looking at young people about space and STEM education. We do it primarily using social media, new media, digital strategies, things like that, and that makes us a really exciting organization to watch because we're reaching out to students at a place or a level where they want to be contacted rather than trying to, force education on them through traditional methods. We're really trying to make it interesting and exciting and dynamic. And over the past 2 years, we have reached 25 million people around the world. We now have over 1,500 student space ambassadors who are part of our leadership program. We've sent dozens of students to space camp and have a lot of big plans for the future. So I'm super excited to get to be here and talk with all of you today about how social media can really do a lot of good in the world of STEM. Oh, and I'm also a junior at Wellesley College doing a double major in astrobiology and Russian. That's me.
Thanks so much for sharing, everyone. It's so exciting. I don't know if we can get Miss Abella back, since I know she was kind of cut off a little. If not, we can see if we can have an opportunity to again, speak with her as a panelist as we kind of get started with questions. So let me just check on that really quickly. While I check on that, let us know in the comments, was there anything that stuck out with anyone, anything interesting or you need more information about? Let us know. How's it going? What's going on? I hear I have some technical issues. Again, just post in the chat. Let us know what you guys thought. Okay, well, unfortunately, while we're still trying to get Miss Abella back on, I think, again, she's in Tanzania, so being able to connect while we're all here live, obviously we face some technical difficulties. So again, we'll definitely let you guys know once we get her back situated and we're able to engage with her. But I'll actually go ahead and get started with Dr. Tracy, since you kind of gave a little bit of a glimpse there. But I really want to understand, I guess, what is your why? You talked about, so many different opportunities, but to keep it simple, what is your why?
So I guess my why for doing social media, I was in land development, engineering, environmental engineering, civil engineering for about 15 years and as a project engineer with several consulting firms, Malcolm Perney, Wilson Miller, and C.H. Chillam Hill. And I went back to school because everything was done the exact same way every time. And that's when I started to realize that, connecting to the public, educating the public was so important. So that is really my why I do social media, why I do all this extra stuff. It's really, and to finish my story, the real why is because my 11-year-old cousin came over and she was obsessing over Instagram, and it was, Kim Kardashian's profile, not to name names. And I just saw that there was no one, and I know that we do this in so many different diverse areas. There was no one that really looked like her that she can look up to. Everybody on TV that she could really mirror herself in, they were not good role models. There were no good female scientists that took care of themselves, their hair, their makeup, etc. And me, I'm actually a tomboy athlete. If I can wear high tops and sweatpants every day, I would. But I started to realize that there was a need. There was a need to be a role model in this role as an engineer, as a scientist, as someone that can possibly educate the younger generation to have purpose, to find purpose, whatever that is. And it's not just science or engineering, just to find their passion and to bring science and the environment into it. That's really my why. And that's what kind of motivates me to work the extra hours every day.
Thanks so much. Just like you mentioned, it was really great. Again, please let us know in the comments if anything resonated, if it was really exciting for you, if you guys see something similar in your own, but being able to identify that, right? So there's a huge difference. And even again, just being able to identify why we need STEM. And most of us, majority, and I'm excited to kind of hear Abby and Abella as well, have a reason as to why we share so openly. And so being able to talk about advancing your career and personal brand through social media, the majority of these wonderful women have actually made it a point to share their failures, their struggles. Like Dr. Tracy just mentioned, waking up and not having makeup on, that's the reality. Not being Instagram ready or YouTube, have a whole script written out. It's the real genuineness of struggle of, being a woman in engineering and pursuing, difficult tasks and difficult dreams. And so on that note, Abby, if you don't mind kind of sharing us, why it is that you even share on social media. Obviously, you have this really big dream. Why share that with the rest of the world? All right, so seems like we're having another little difficulty. If I can kind of jump back, we'll see if we can get her back on. But if you guys don't know, as Abby mentioned, and I think all these ladies are so wonderfully humble about all the things that they're doing, Abby's actually shooting to be an astronaut. So it's absolutely amazing to be able to follow her journey, what she's doing, how she's going about it. And obviously, again, so many different women are doing so many great things. So like Dr. Tracy mentioned, is sharing it, between the lines of, beauty and fashion and blogging, but also having a little bit of purpose in it and all kind of, for me, cool and fun, interesting stuff where we can all nerd out about it and learn at the same time. So while we're waiting to see if we can go ahead and get that situated, Abby, let us know once you're back in. But we have some questions here, so I'll just kind of see and make sure, the presentations, how do you consider your personal brand? These are all actually great questions and will be asked in a minute. So this is all really good. Okay, cool. So we're going to see if we can grab Miss Abby back to give us her why as to why she's sharing that journey for herself.
All right, can you guys hear me now? Let me know. Am I coming through? Anyone? Perfect. Okay. So before I get started, One thing I forgot to mention in my introduction is that in conjunction with the nonprofit that I started and run, I also run a series of social media channels called Astronaut Abby, where I share basically my journey towards wanting to become an astronaut and eventually the first astronaut to walk on Mars. And with those channels, I have collectively about 1 million followers. So that sets the groundwork to answer Brand's question, which is why? Why do these things? Why use social media? Why do all, like Tracy said, all the extra bits that aren't actually involved in my schooling or my job or all of those things? And my answer is similar to Tracy's in that it's about, I guess, wanting to see a future that we can be proud of and wanting to know that your legacy is more than the work that you personally do. It's the work that you can help others to do. And so by sharing my journey towards becoming an astronaut, I hope that I can inspire and excite a lot of people about space, about going to Mars, and about education in general. And then second off, also share that experience with people who for a multitude of reasons will not have that same experience. And so the idea is that we can use social media to, in essence, live vicariously through each other and really be able to fully experience things collectively as a society and as a culture. So that's the elevator version of why, which is such a big question.
Thanks so much, Miss Abby. As you mentioned, I totally live vicariously through everyone. If you that are watching don't know, there's some kind of tips and tricks behind the trade. So if you look up the hashtag women in engineering, you'll find all kinds of women doing amazing things in all kinds of different fields and careers all over the world. There's also different hashtags, obviously, like she said, aerospace or even NASA or astronaut. And so something as simple as just using a hashtag and being able to follow it or utilize it is just absolutely amazing. And that's honestly how I found both Astronaut Abby and Dr. Tracy is through just, again, kind of coalition of STEM content creators. And so there's all kinds of different accounts, whether it be, STEM media that does a lot of fun social memes, or even like Astronaut Abby, who shares different series of her journey throughout life. It's just really cool and really fun and exciting. So let us know in the comments if there's any other hashtags you guys follow, anyone interesting that you've met or even had a collaboration with. Again, I'm super nerding out about having these women because it's an amazing inspiration to see what they do, how they do it. I myself am actually a mechanical manufacturing engineer, and I didn't even get to mention that earlier because I was just so excited to introduce these ladies to you guys. So again, just being able to share that everyday life, what it's like to be, again, an engineer, what it's like to even pursue engineering. And so it's really cool. So yeah, someone mentioned be like her. Absolutely. I use the hashtag we need more, right? And so again, by all means, please let us know, again, more hashtags. Let's definitely have a collaboration here. And if you're on Twitter, feel free to hashtag this, be that engineer. Yes, that's another great one. And so again, by all means, tweet us. Again, let people know about this conversation. We want to make sure that we're engaging with you guys as well. And again, I know if you don't follow us already, we're all going to be on our social media handles in a few minutes as well. And so I wanted to go ahead and see if we can get back Miss Abella to actually give us her why and give her mini introduction if she can. All right, so we're just going to be persistent and keep trying to bring her back on. I know she has a lot of great things, and even that I don't want to spoil it and tell you all the greatness she's doing yet. So again, we'll just try to keep working on getting her here. But again, yes, keep sharing those hashtags. Go beyond. STEM matters. Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for continuing to engage with us. And again, we'll go ahead and get started with another question. One is, I would say, to Dr. Tracy, why actually start a social media platform? And to that point, how do you even choose to go on social media? Do you share everything, or do you kind of still keep things kind of personal? And even to that point, again, right, I was mentioning be Instagram ready, or, have it all scripted. So how do you go about actually creating a social media platform starting from scratch?
Hey, so it kind of, for me, started organically, of course, to start with Facebook. And then I created a Twitter, to follow the show Supernatural back in the day. And then I got more and more into it. And as far as what to share, what I'm learning, and I'm still in the process of learning. I don't have millions of followers, but I'm learning that it's really, you really have to keep in mind what platform that you're using, and post things that are right for that platform. Like, for example, on Twitter, words and motivational talks, thoughts are really good. Innovative technologies are really good for Twitter. It's really more about the knowledge in the thought. Instagram is great for pictures, of course, and then Snapchat, my favorite. However, the new update I'm not a big fan of. That has really given me the ability to kind of take snapshots throughout my day, because my job is so exciting. I absolutely love it. I'm constantly doing something different, and I can record it on Snapchat without taking too much time out of my day, basically. So there's no scripting, there's no nothing. But the problem is that those Snapchats, I'm so proud of some of them, not all of them, but I'm so proud of some of them, but they just don't translate to the other platforms very well. And so this is where it gets time consuming. So, and Abby definitely knows more about this than I do. But for me, and because of the time restraints, I really have to focus on the platforms that I seem to resonate best with. And for me, it seems to be Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram. Facebook, if you stop using it, the algorithm just isn't right, and so it's not really my best suited right now, but starting organically, it's really tough to see 0 followers at first. But you know what? You get through it, and the more you tweet, the more people follow you, follow people back. They like that. They stay following you. But again, then you have your whole homepage filled up, and Abby, I think, does it right. She, only follows very few and gets a lot of followers in return. So I'll probably hand that over to her to answer those questions.
Yeah, so I think that Tracy made a lot of really great points, and it can be difficult to upkeep a lot of different platforms at the same time, especially since in order to be really successful on most of these platforms, it does require consistency. That's the most important thing, honestly, that I can say is consistency. Consistently posting not only on a timeline, but also with the type of content that you're creating, because the concept behind really good, high-quality social media, when you're using it in a professional sense at least, is that it's like you're telling a story. And so you have to introduce your audience to things and then bring them along with it, and then have a satisfying conclusion at the end. And so if you drop off at any point on that, or jump in at the wrong point along, that timeline, it can be difficult for them to be interested and emotionally invested and truly experience it along with you. So that's a really important part, and a way that you can do both that and consistently post on, a certain number of times every week or something like that, is through scheduled posts. A lot of social media platforms, such as, Facebook is one that we're all really familiar with. Facebook has a great capability on it where you can schedule posts. And so sometimes when you know that you're going to be having a really busy timeline or something, and you know what post you want to put up in a couple days or even later that day, you can go ahead and schedule it, and that helps it be more well thought out and more planned, and really help you to follow through on creating that story that we all want to be a part of.
No, that's really great information. Thank you so much for that insight. I personally obviously don't have near as many followers as you do, but even like you said, just being able to schedule it. I'm working on a manufacturing timeline, so I wake up at 4 in the morning to get to the plant by 7, and then I have to leave by 3 or 4, and then I'm in traffic. So in between running back and forth, it definitely gets chaotic. And like you said, knowing those busy weeks and whether or not you have tests or exams or even something going on in the lab that week, you want to make sure that you're still providing that content and continuing to inspire and help educate. But to that point, and both, Tracy and Miss Abby, you said it very well, but we all kind of get caught up in the vanity metrics, right? Is however many likes we get or how many followers. But at the end of the day, whatever content you're sharing, and again, to mention whatever hashtags you're following, is, different content resonates with different people. So, sure, it's cool to see something explode, but, not explosions are happening every day in the world of engineering. So again, thank you so much for giving that insight. It really is something to think about, particularly to focus on, again, the psychology of it. If you're just putting information out there to get likes, it's not so much as a marketing scheme rather than you ladies sharing your lives and again, your efforts and to be able to inspire and help educate others. And so on that topic of actually education, I know Dr. Tracy mentioned it in the comments, but Abby, would you mind, I guess, telling us again what you're pursuing? I know you had mentioned it a little bit, but your degree, and then we'll see Dr. Tracy explain a little bit about what her degree was in.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm currently at Wellesley College in the United States. It's in Massachusetts. I'm a junior doing an undergraduate in astrobiology and Russian. And when I heard Brianne say exams, I had a little bit of heart flutters because I had 3 of them yesterday. And so if we could stay away from those words, that would be really great. Trying to forget about that. But I'm just kidding, of course. So I have a year and a half of schooling left for me. And then after that, I'm hoping to pursue a PhD in astrobiology or a related field, and then follow that up with applying to be an astronaut and eventually, hopefully, going to Mars.
So my educational background is a BS in ME, which is a Master's in Engineering, and a PhD in Environmental Engineering from the great University of Florida. I am a diehard Gator. And that's basically my educational background. The one thing that I should probably mention is that I worked for about 4 years before going back for my master's and PhD. And that was really, really smart for me because I completely changed what I thought I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to genetically engineer microbes to clean up wastewater. Turns out that stormwater is pretty darn important. So I went into stormwater treatment, design. My master's degree had me storm chasing, which was pretty cool, testing out a new treatment technology for stormwater, removing nutrients and reducing the occurrence of harmful algae blooms or algae blooms in general. And then my PhD was focused on hydrologic restoration, sustainable design, kind of taking an urban environment and making it so hydrologically it was in pre-development conditions by implementing different technologies and design strategies.
So thank you so much. Again, everything you ladies are saying, I'm just nerding out and so excited. And so even furthermore, I know, again, we're getting kind of short on time. We could just sit and talk all evening. But about, your social media and advancing your career with those, degrees that you're pursuing, with those ideas of a future career or even a future job that currently doesn't exist. How has having your personal brand, being so public, being so open, helped advance your career? And I'll start with Dr. Tracy and then Miss Abby.
So I'm not sure that so how social media actually helps advance my career is more indirect. The more people that learn about the environment, that share a passion for the environment in all different careers, the more the more likely it will be that people will care, people will rise up, regulation will change, and I will get funding to do the research that needs to be done to make the world more sustainable. And so that's kind of my angle in this. And I should probably note that I do work with the state of Florida, the Florida Fish and Wildlife lab up in St. Pete on a red tide and other harmful algae bloom Facebook page. And that helps our career a lot, because so red tide is this harmful algae that has this toxin that's special because it can aerosolize, attach onto sea salt particles, move on shore, and cause respiratory irritation in healthy individuals, but people with COPD or asthma, it can be very serious. So this Facebook page actually helps us alert the public so that the public can make healthy decisions when going to the beach. Not only that, it actually protects tourism, because when people come down here, go to a beach, have a bad experience, that's what they think the beach is like all the time. So social media really helps us in that sense, protect public health. So yeah, hopefully I answered the question.
I thought you did a great job of answering it, Tracy, and I hate piggybacking off answers, but mine is basically the same as yours, which is that social media isn't necessarily, furthering my own personal career in a direct sense, and actually I have to be very careful to make sure that it doesn't negatively impact the career that I want to have, because I want to keep my social media very professional and all of those things so that it doesn't affect anything in my future. But the way that it is indirectly contributing to this goal that I have is that if we truly want to have human exploration of space continue to grow and things like going to Mars within the next couple decades be a realistic thing, we need to have more excitement about it, more education, and really more public support. And so that's part of what I'm trying to do, is bring about, in kind of a groundswell way, this idea of not only the American public, which is where I'm based out of, but the entire world, that going to Mars, that continuing to have human space exploration is something that will benefit us as a whole, and that we really should be contributing to and investing in now. And so in essence, I guess you could say that I am selfishly trying to use social media to make sure that a Mars mission happens. And then after that, who knows, maybe I'll end up on it.
That's a really great point, Abby. And even in the chat, I was just kind of listening to you and I was like, how inspiring the fact that, again, as Dr. Tracy mentioned, it wasn't about furthering yourself or showing yourself off like so many of these celebrities or even personal brands. And, yes, it's one thing to have sponsors and people that support you and, align with your vision of your dream of what you're trying to achieve, but it's a little different, right? When you kind of get salesy and you're trying to kind of sell yourself on the internet. So the fact that it's all about education and granting access to those in so many different areas of the world is, just absolutely inspiring and quite honestly, just beautiful, very touching. And so with that, actually, I wanted to ask again, even more so to kind of keep the conversation interesting, if you could please share what kind of mistake have you made through social media? I know you said you want to make sure that it's professional. Have you ever kind of had a mishap where you went back or maybe even got negative feedback about a post you had? Abby, can you share a little bit about your experience with that?
So far, I haven't had, at least as far as I can remember, any serious or things that I would look back on and say, that was a mistake and I had to remove that or anything like that. And I think that part of that is that the work that I'm doing is very wholesome. And so everything that I'm involved with, it's, it's things either from science and space or even just from my daily life. They're always appropriate for social media. And I also have a lot of advice from people that, sometimes I run things through a couple people just to check, this is a photo of me in my pajamas drinking a cup of coffee. Is that social media appropriate? Yes. You just have to put it in the right context. One thing that I do remember, and this is part of why I sometimes run things through people now, is when I first learned how to drive, I passed the driver's test and I was so excited, and I took a picture, like, I think I was holding my keys or something to the car, and posted it on Twitter and on Facebook. And funnily enough, my dad actually texted me almost immediately, and then a couple people after that, and were like, you need to take that picture down right now, because along with my car key was also my house key and a couple other, things that might be identifying or important in that photo. And so it's the little things like that, for safety and for making sure that you stay appropriate on social media to not impact your future, that you have to watch out for. A lot of times, they slip by us. And so running it by someone else is always a great idea. If you have any question.
So I don't have the same answer, unfortunately. And honestly, I don't even know if I can say what I did now, because I might get in trouble for it. But so on one of my Snapchats, I was posting about octopus. I love octopodes. Apparently the correct word to say this is octopodes, even though I've seen octopi be accepted. So I was doing a Snapchat on octopi and the cool research that we're doing, and in Finding Dory, when the octopus escaped and was helping Dory throughout the movie. Well, an octopus kind of escaped from one of the research labs, which is very common for octopodes to do. He was fine. I mean, they found him, put him back. But because I said that on social media, and I was super excited about it because I thought that it was the funniest thing, that the Finding Dory came to life, because I'm not really a biologist. I love animals. I love every animal. I will hug any animal, but I'm not a biologist. I just thought it was so cool that it was just like the movie, and I got in some serious trouble. Yeah. But I will add that it is very, very important to watch and be careful what you put on social media, especially when you're in the undergrad phase. I know that I just went through interns yesterday, and I was looking through their social media actually to get to my top 3. And it's really important that you have your public posts locked down, and that it's nothing that you wouldn't want a future employer to see. It's really funny. One of my ex-interns indirectly is actually in school with Abby right now, which I think is really, what a small world, right? But anyway, yeah, be careful on what you put on social media for safety and also for opportunity sake.
Yeah, by all means, been there, done that. I think acknowledging and having to face the ugly truth of making a mistake is very difficult. I know myself as well, because I work in so many different environments and atmospheres. I was once, traveling the world, being able to walk aircraft and see different information. Again, obviously, whether it was failures or that kind of fun stuff. And as I was problem solving, honestly wanted to take a few snapshots and kind of share, like, this is the kind of stuff I do and look at. But at the same time, as Abby mentioned, right, for safety reasons, or even safe of face for different companies or how we go about it, couldn't really post too much about it, and definitely kind of stopped sharing that as well. And even more so now in an environment where there's robots and safety hazards. Of course, as much as I would love to be able to share it all the time, it's just kind of that, keeping everyone safe. So I think we do have Miss Abella. I know we're kind of running out of time, but I love to have the opportunity to have her say hi and kind of, again, give a mini intro and welcome to herself right before we wrap up to Q&A.
Hi, I hope I can be heard right now. Nice. Thank you very much. So I'm going to be very fast because I know I just really enjoyed listening to Tracy and Abby. And so this is what I would say. I use social media. I run 3 companies. So I run an NGO. I run a social enterprise for girls and girls coders, but also I run a media company, and also I work with young artists and young politicians. So I do a couple of things. I have a legal background. I'm a lawyer, and I'm from Tanzania, East Africa. I use social media intensively for two reasons. Because I'm a media personality, so I brand my programs. Also, I do TV and radio. So I brand my program in media, but also I mentor young journalists and I mentor young artists. Now, journalists and artists use a lot of media. So in my company, Aron, we are running close to 8 projects right now, and they're running a total of 46 media pages. We're in Facebook, we're in Twitter, we are in Instagram, and we heavily use YouTube because we share our media in mainstream and then we share them back in social media. What we do, we call it actually multimedia campaign. So we first air in mainstream media and then we always keep pulling people back in social media. We do community projects in a way that we deal with influencing community to use data, influencing community to actually do art activism, influencing community to actually engage in civic education and raising a generation of young innovators and young women and young coders. And so social media for us is very important because either we do a media program or a training, or we inspire our young politicians, we need to keep the conversation going. I've been using social media for close to, I would say, 10 years now. I've made a couple of mistakes. I'm growing, I'm getting better, but I'm mentoring young people because one thing I'm realizing nowadays, either you need a business or you want to establish a career, you want to become your own brand, you want to become your own logo, social media can make or break you. So I really try to make young people, because we are making them ambassadors in these 4 different fields, either to be a media personality or to be an artist that says something that changes the community or to be a young innovator that brings innovation in the country. Either ways, wherever that place is, your profile matters and people will Google search you. People will look for you. So these are the things that I actually tell my people that I mentor, quick ones. You don't have to use all social media platforms. Find the one that you like, the one that feels right for you. So yes, so Facebook is becoming a bit for older generation. Snapchat is for younger generation. Twitter is
All right. So I know it's cut off again, but thanks, Miss Isabella, for so many great tips and sharing that great insight. Again, picking your number one is actually really great points. So by all means, again, thank you for sharing that. And even more so, sharing what you've done and how you're going about doing that is absolutely amazing. And so by all means, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I did want to send a reminder. It doesn't have to stop here. As much of this great conversation is happening, I'm sure, again, Dr. Tracy, Astronaut Abby, Abella, and myself will all be on Twitter. So please feel free to use the hashtag Global Marathon. Again, feel free to have all of our social media handles that are all in the widget box below. So again, feel free to follow, like, comment, let us know. And again, we'll continue this conversation by all means. Just to kind of wrap up, I want to give everyone a last minute chance to kind of send closing thoughts. Again, I just wanted to have the opportunity to thank you all so much again for joining. You can find me on all platforms. I personally am very excited to kind of help educate as well, particularly in the world of manufacturing engineering, world travel, the opportunities, especially for underprivileged, underrepresented, any kind of diversity in general. So whether it be Hispanic, girls, Black engineers, again, from every state or even standpoint, whether it's, again, facing a disability that you feel is holding you back as well. There's a limitless opportunity, and having perseverance, having that education, and continuing to push forward and never quit attitude is absolutely everything you can do to advance your career, your personal brand, and again, sharing your unique story with the rest of the world. So by all means, go ahead and wrap it up. If you can go first, Miss Abby, let us know again in final thoughts, and then we'll close out with Miss Tracy. And thank you all so much again for joining.
Yeah, thank you, Brianne, and thank you to everyone who's been watching and interacting and asking all of these really wonderful questions. This is social media and technology, honestly, at its finest, where we can have people from around the world collaboratively coming up with ideas and discussing things and increasing our understanding of one another. So I'm super excited to get to be a part of this. And if I were to leave you with a final thought about social media, and especially social media when you're using it to advance a brand or a career, it's to be honest and to be truthful and to fully represent yourself in a very organic, very real way, because that's what we should be striving for, is to be putting out there who we are, and then, you know, I think that that's the way that you will find the best reception from audiences and really make the most meaningful communities. So once again, thank you all for having me. And if you would like to follow me, you can find me as Astronaut Abby on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of those, even YouTube. I just started a YouTube series called Ask Abby. So if you have more great questions, you can go check out that. And you can also find the Mars Generation as the Mars Generation on all of those previously listed platforms as well. I hope to have you join us as part of our community.
Hi guys, thank you everybody for coming. Ask any questions at Inspector Planet on Twitter, Instagram, etc. Passion is contagious. So if you express your passion through your social media, people are just going to join in. They want to be part of something that means something, that has purpose. So tell the world what your purpose is, and people will jump on. And follow me as I try to get the government to pay for the first real science research show on TV. And while I do the real research at the same time. That's all I have.